What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the accusation and the quick resolution um, of Cassie bringing charges against Sean Combs, formerly known as Puff Daddy. Um, this was over very quickly. She brought forth charges against Puffy, and a day later it was settled out of court. And the charges that she brought against Sean Combs was actually pretty alarming. When I first heard about this, what initially came to mind was what comes to most people's mind whenever you hear someone bring accusations against a very rich and wealthy individual, and particularly specifically a man, about something that happened years ago. The first thing that comes to mind is money grab. That's the first thing that comes to your mind. Unfortunately, it's because in this country we've encouraged that type of behavior. We have not provided any consequence to women who falsely accuse men of doing things that they did not do. And when there is no consequence for bad behavior, it just emboldens more bad behavior. So we live in a culture where this has become very common, where women sue men for things that happened decades ago, and it's seen as as a come up, as an investment, as their way to retire and to have them live a level of lifestyle that maybe they were living before and they're not living now, or to maintain it. But it's always circulated around money. That's initially what you think when you hear about these things. And this case is no different. I didn't realize how long they were together. They were together for 10 plus years, according to everything that I read. And she said he was abusive to her. She said that he raped her. He was forcing her to do sexual acts that she didn't want to do. So, these accusations are pretty bad. There was a singer named Keisha that took Diddy out of the lyrics of one of her songs, which I'm sure he don't care about that. I could care less. I can't name one Keisha song. Not saying she's not a good singer. I don't know if she is. I'm just saying I can't name a song of hers. I don't listen to anything she does. She also accused Puffy of sex trafficking. So I'm going to play this video, and we're going to listen to the accusations in more detail that she brought against Puffy. And then once that's done, we're going to come back, we're going to break down, and we're going to dissect exactly what this means for him going forward and why this was bought in the first place. Because when you watch this video and go to the comment section, it's immediately a bunch of women in there taking Cassie's side. There's no evidence that's been brought out because, again, when she brought the accusations, a day later there was a out of court settlement, and a lot of people see that as Puffy being guilty. So let's listen to the video, then we'll come back and we'll start to break down and dissect this. If him settling a day later is unspoken admittance of being guilty, or if it's something else. So let's just keep an open mind, and then we'll come back. I'll give my thoughts, and then we'll take it from there.
A lawsuit filed against Sean Diddy Combs accuses the music performer and executive of rape, physical abuse, and sex trafficking. The singer Cassie says the incidents occurred throughout her 10-year relationship with Combs. Her suit was filed under a law that allows alleged sexual offense victims to file past the statute of limitations.
So, guys, let me stop it right there. So, Cassie had to file this lawsuit before the date of November 24th, because once it went past that date, she would not be able to file it, because the particular statute that's set in place allows victims of SA and of rape to file civil claims against the perpetrator or the alleged perpetrator, even when it's past the statute of limitations. So she had to get this in and have this filed before November 24th. So that is a very important detail to keep in mind, because she's accusing him of some very egregious things. And she's accusing him of these things over the course of a 10-year relationship that happened years ago. So the filing of this civil claim and this civil suit is very eye-opening and very suspicious to me. I think that's suspicious. You know, the statute, this statute is running out on November 24th. You hurry up and get your lawsuit in prior to November 24th so that you're able to get it in before it expires. So that to me is very suspicious. I don't think that by itself is an admittance of something being false, but it's definitely something I would think speak more towards something towards Diddy's side than towards her own. So let's go back to the video.
Cassie says she wanted to speak out before that law expires next week. Mr. Combs has denied all the allegations. For more, let's bring in.
So she admits it. She wanted to speak out before it expires. So she admitted it. There's no secret. It's not like she said, I finally came to my senses and now I want to do it. She said she wanted to speak out before that expired. So that's why she filed it now.
And entertainment attorney Dante Mills. So Dante, thanks for being with us. Cassie has signed with that label when she was just 19 and Sean Combs was 37. What's alleged to have happened after that?
Thank you for having me, Catherine. So in this lawsuit, I just wanted to be clear. This is a civil lawsuit. This is not a criminal lawsuit. There's no chance here as we stand for Sean Combs to go to jail. It's a civil lawsuit about money. And the claim is...
All right. I was going to say that, but he actually said it. This is not a criminal lawsuit. Sean Combs cannot be prosecuted criminally because it's past the statute of limitations for that to happen. This is a civil lawsuit. Civil lawsuits aren't about criminally punishing someone who's allegedly guilty of doing a crime. Civil lawsuits are about money settlements. So it's about punitive damages of a financial nature. So she filed this lawsuit in order to get money from Puffy. Not to punish him criminally for the things she's accusing him of, but to get money. So if you go back to what I said at the start of this video, that I think most of these allegations that are brought against very powerful, influential, wealthy men are money grabs, this explains it. This is a civil suit. Civil suits can only net you financial gain. It cannot punish the alleged perpetrator criminally. So civil suits are all about money. So this case that Cassie is bringing against Puff Daddy or Sean Combs is all about money, nothing else. It's not seeking to see him hurt criminally or prosecuted criminally with prison time or anything like that. This is about money. That's what this lawsuit is about. Money. Nothing else, nothing more.
That during their relationship, he was physically abusive, that he required or demanded that she perform certain sexual acts with other people while he was there, and that he, in fact, raped her shortly before she left him. She said she did not want to have sexual relations with him, and he forced himself on her. That's the basis of this lawsuit and why it's moving forward. Now, you are right to talk about the fact that this lawsuit was brought in New York because these things happened years ago. So the statute of limitations is gone most places, but in New York, they have this law where they opened it up for a year and said if you're a survivor of sexual assault, you have a year to bring your claim, and that expires next week, November 23rd of this year.
Okay, so you've handled several high-profile cases. What would your defense strategy look like?
Absolutely. I have a lot of high-profile clients, and the first thing that comes to mind when we get these lawsuits in, not just of this nature, but any of them, is that the people are about money. This is a civil lawsuit, and at the end of the day, Cassie would receive money if she wins. So the first defense is always going to be that these claims are made up, that they're exaggerated, that none of this happened. She simply wants money. She knows that Sean Combs has it, and she wants a piece of it. That's the first and most natural defense.
So Cassie's legal team, how are they going to handle questions about why she stayed in the relationship as long as she did and then waited so long to report the allegations?
Absolutely. That's a tough issue because when you're in a relationship for that long, sometimes things build up where you go in and you're being wined and dined and everything is good, and gradually things get worse. So if I'm on her team as her attorney, I'm making it clear that that's what happened here, that the relationship started out good, but gradually it got worse and worse to the point that she was caught in this vicious cycle. She was caught under his thumb and almost didn't even realize it until she got out of there and some years went by, and then she began to process and heal and say, I went through things that I did not agree with, and that should not have happened to me. That's what her side would be saying. If I'm on Sean Combs' side, I'm saying that none of this came up while they were in a relationship, and that she brought this up after she walked away and realized that she could not continue her lifestyle and needed money to do so, and that's why this claim came here.
That's a great observation. This complaint mentions multiple third-party witnesses, also videos and photos. This evidence, which party could benefit most?
Yes, I think that evidence, physical evidence like videos and witnesses are very important for the person bringing the claim. Remember, Cassie has to prove this claim. All that Sean Combs has to do is make it so it's unbelievable, but Cassie has to prove it. And when you're talking about especially sexual assault and things like that, normally what a jury looks for is, did something come out contemporaneous to when the assault happened? Was there a friend that she told about the next day that she called crying saying, Sean Combs hit me in the face or made me do something I didn't want to do? Does she have things that date back to when these things happened? That's the easiest way to convince people that she's not making this up after the fact, is by having that evidence that was made around the time that these things happened. That's her best hope for convincing people. And I think that they put that in the complaint because they want people to realize or know that they have these things in the bag and they're prepared to come forward with them.
As they like to say, that she's brought receipts to the table, basically. So to wrap up the analysis, do you believe this will go to trial, or are you predicting a financial settlement?
All right. This discussion was being had prior to Puffy agreeing to an out-of-court settlement. So we're just going to back up here and give this the proper due that this video deserves. Guys, they were in a relationship for 10 years. Relationships for most of us are very tumultuous. They go through ups and downs, twists and turns. A lot of times we hurt each other. The man is hurting the woman is hurting the man. We're hurting each other with words. We're hurting each other with undesirable actions. We're doing tit for tat. We're trying to get back at one another. We're saying hurtful things because you hurt me. Relationships for most of us are tumultuous. Most men are not Puffy. So when we have the regular normal guy has a tumultuous relationship with the regular normal woman, when you break up and separate, that's usually as far as it goes. You break up and separate. She may have cheated on you. She may have torched your clothes, poured bleach on them, flattened your tires. She may have done a whole bevy of different things. And actually, the tires and damaging property that's criminal. But she may have done emotional and psychological things to you. And for most of us, because we are not wealthy, when this happens and you split, you just tend to move on and get into another relationship. But you have to realize that when you have a lot to offer, that also means that you have a lot to lose. So this thing has been going on for the last 5 years or so, popularized by the late Kevin Samuels about being a high value man. And you hear a lot of women say they want men like this. They want a high value man. How can I get a high value man? And then you have men on certain different podcasts is saying men become high value because this is what women want. This is how you become high value. And the other side of high value and having a lot of resources, guys, is that you have a lot to lose. There's a saying out there that says, be careful what you wish for. Because a lot of things that we wish for, we only see the upside and we never see the other side of that coin. It's like buying a house. Like everyone says who doesn't have a house says they want a house. Everyone says they want to own a house. And most people, if you ask them, the bigger the house, the better. What they don't see is the other side of home ownership, which is cutting the grass, shoveling snow, cleaning the roof and the gutters. What they don't see is that once you buy a home and you become a homeowner, you start to wear many hats. The kind of hats that you didn't have to wear when you were in an apartment. When you were in an apartment and the air conditioner broke or the heater went out, you can just call maintenance. You can make a phone call and someone will come and fix it. But when you are a homeowner, you are maintenance. You are the plumber. You are the AC guy. You're the HVAC. You're the lawn company. Like you're doing lawn maintenance. You're the roofer. You're the floor person. You're the carpet person. Like anything that goes wrong with that house, you wear that hat to fix it. And if you don't learn how to fix and do any of these things yourself, you will be bleeding money paying people to fix all the different things that go wrong with a house. But everyone wants a house. But until they see that flip side of what that means, they're always caught off guard. They're always caught by surprise, and a lot of people wind up getting overwhelmed because the cost of it. I think the easiest part of buying a house is getting into the house, but the hardest part is the maintenance and the upkeep, because it constantly needs to be maintained. Things constantly go wrong, and it don't have to be a major appliance. It could just be something here, something there. Something always has to be fixed, and you always have to be mindful to keep money aside in case something really big does break, like your water heater, or like your air conditioner system. If you have central air or something, that needs to be fixed. Something goes wrong with the roof. Like you always have to have money set aside for these big ticket items that can break. Something can happen. And that's the same way, guys, with being high value, having a lot of resources. There's a flip side to that. There is literally a bullseye on your back. You become a target. You become a target to many people that want to latch on to you, that want to form some kind of relationship with you, network with you. They want to do anything and everything they can to siphon resources away from you. They were in a relationship for 10 years. I believe that the relationship was tumultuous because I think most people's relationship are tumultuous. There was a big, huge age gap. They said when he was 37, she was 19 when she signed to the label. I don't know how old she was when they got into a relationship, but off rip, there's a 20-year, is it 20? 29, 30. There's an 18-year age gap between the two. So just from life and knowing who Puffy is, just through life experience, traveling, being a multi-millionaire, a business mogul. His experience is, compared to what she knew about life, was just astronomical. So I'm sure he was a great mentor and someone that she can look up to. But we have to be careful what we wish for. And I'm not a person that's capping for Diddy. To be honest, I am not a huge Diddy fan. I am not. I have nothing against his business practices, but he's got a lot of enemies. Like, he's done a lot of things to a lot of people. And usually when you get to that level of success, you have done a lot of people dirty. It's very hard to get to his level of success and still maintaining your integrity. Usually when you get to that level, you stepped on a lot of people. You did a lot of people wrong. And the people that have an issue with Puffy have all come out publicly and said these things. But him settling a day after the claims, does that make him guilty? I do not think that makes him guilty. We got to understand, guys, that he is a very rich and wealthy man. He's got a lot of different business deals and things going, a lot of different business relationships. In fact, I know he's got a lawsuit going on against I think it's a liquor company. He's got some kind of lawsuit in the works, suing a liquor company that was breached a contract or something to that effect. I don't know the intimate details of it. But what I'm saying is, when you're a person that's rich and a person that's wealthy, sometimes settling a lawsuit, even though if it may not be, you may not be guilty of it, may be the best thing for you, because it allows you to move on and continue your business, especially if you have business relationships with other powerful people. They don't want the publicity. You don't want the publicity. And the longer it drags out, it can wind up actually hurting your business relationships. So sometimes it's just economically, it makes sense economically and from a business standpoint, because the longer it drags out, the worse you can potentially look, and you can start having people walk away from you. People start cutting ties business-wise with you. People starting to distance themselves from you. And like I said, he's got this lawsuit going on against this liquor company. So from a business standpoint, it's a business move. It makes business sense for him to just settle a lawsuit, even though he may not be guilty of the things that she's accusing him of. The fact that this is a civil lawsuit means that the only thing she can get is money. Now, what I know from rape victims is women that are victims of rape want their perpetrator to be prosecuted. They want that person prosecuted. They want that person held accountable. They want that person brought to justice. The fact that she never went after him criminally, but only went after him civilly, and stated by her own admission that she did it prior to November 24th, so she would still be able to bring charges against him civilly. I doubt a lot of these charges that she brought against him. I have no question that the relationship was tumultuous, because they was together for 10 years. I'm surprised he didn't marry her. I mean, that's a really long time to be with someone and not pull the trigger on that. But whatever the case, he didn't, and they didn't get married, and so it makes sense that he would do that. And I don't think a lot of people actually see that side of it. Because most people aren't him, and they aren't wealthy, they aren't rich. So from our perspective, the average guy, it's like, well, I'm not going to pay someone anything. I'm not going to pay a woman or pay someone money if I didn't do something. I'm innocent. I'm not going to do it. Us being the normal everyday guy, we see it that way. Number one, because we're not wealthy. Because we're not multi-millionaires, almost a billionaire. We're not rich. Money to us means something completely different than what it means to men like Diddy. Whatever the settlement is that he paid, he can comfortably afford it. He'll make it back in a month, I'm sure, because he's so liquid. He's not a businessman only, he's also a businessman. He's the business. He's extremely liquid, so whatever he paid means nothing to him. But money to us means everything to us. It has a lot more meaning because we sweat and work so hard in order to get it. But to him, it's nothing. So I believe that's why he settled out of court the next day. But let me say this. Let me add on top of that. Women who are victims of the type of things that she brought against Puff Daddy, again, they want to see the man prosecuted. They want to see the man punished criminally. Not civil, not through civil suit, not through financial loss. They want to see him punished criminally. Will they take financial loss on top of a prison sentence, on top of being prosecuted, on top of being humiliated? Absolutely. But their main goal and their focus is for him to go to prison and for him to be found guilty and held accountable for the things that he did. This is not happening here. It did not happen. This is why I have a very hard time believing that he is guilty of these things that she brought against him. At least the most egregious things. I definitely believe the relationship was tumultuous. I definitely believe that they were both doing toxic things back and forth to each other. It's a 10-year relationship. How can you be with someone for 10 years and it not be tumultuous at some point? Had to be, because they didn't get married. So it had to be tumultuous at some point at different junctures. And there's such a gap in experience, in life experience. I'm sure that by itself was tumultuous, brought different elements and things into the relationship. So Puffy has a lot of enemies. That's the other reason why I think he settled, because he's got a lot of enemies. I know he's got that girl from that. He used to have a girl group. This girl has been going on about Puff Daddy for about 2 years now. She's been on podcasts. She's been on shows. She's on Twitter. She's anyone that will listen. She talks about this guy. I think her name is what's the name of the band? Danity. I think it was Danity Kane. There's one of the members of Danity Kane. She despises Diddy. She's been talking about this man for years now. So she's not the only one. So he's got a lot of enemies out there. He's got a lot of enemies and a lot of people that would like to see him suffer. So that's another reason why I think he settled. One, it was a business move, and two, it was for his reputation. Because there's a lot of people that will line up to jump on that train to disparage and call out Puffy. So I don't think this was necessarily a guilty thing that he did. I don't think this is an admittance of guilt. He's a very rich man. He's very powerful. He's very wealthy, and they move differently. They do things differently. But the one thing I want you to get out of this more than anything else is that be careful what you wish for and be prepared for everything that comes with it. If you want to be rich, if you want to be quote unquote high value, have a lot of resources, all this other stuff that's circulating and that's the big thing now, you have to also accept what comes with it. And what comes with it is disgruntled girlfriends, disgruntled exes. You have a target on your back. Simple things that happen in people's relationships, arguments, cheating, emotional abuses, psychological abuses with name calling and shaming and all this other berating, denigrating and all this other stuff that happens in people's relationships. When you are a man of substance, of wealth, of high resources and high value, something like that that can happen in my relationship and both of us walk away, there's a high probability you won't be able to just walk away. Your ex can come back and say that the emotional instability or damage that they sustained in the relationship while you were together impacted them. They're still impacted, and here comes a civil lawsuit. Men date down. We don't date women based on the resources they have, so you would not bring a civil lawsuit against her. She doesn't have anything to give you. You're the one with the resources, so you're the one that has something to lose. Remember that. The more resources you have, the wealthier you are, the more you have to lose. That's the other side of the coin. So I want you to know both sides. I want you to know what sits on the other side of that high value, lots of resources, lots of wealth. I want you to know the other side of that as well, so you can be prepared. This is what happens. You cannot date normally. You cannot be in relationships normally. You cannot interact with people normally. Michael Irvin showed us that. There is a constant bullseye on your back, and you really have no friends. That is probably the saddest reality out of people who are at the top. You have no friends, not even in your family. So guys, let me know what you think. I'll leave the link below so you can check this video out here. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you think he's guilty or not. Let me know if you think it's a money grab. All right, I'll talk to you soon.